more good stuff from JT Sounds, I believe, here, Cam.
When?
Asking about Manny Diaz was on Instagram live the other day with some players, asking whether you believe that that's a good recruiting approach.
Manny Diaz was dancing in the locker room with the players. They're doing one of the dances. It kind of looked like a 75 hop or 75 hop if you're from South Florida. Yeah. I don't know exactly which dance that one was, but it's similar to that. So kind of dancing or jumping around and things like that. And Manny Diaz, it was in the locker room. You know what I mean? Because they're not practicing right now. They're maybe just hanging out. And Manny got in the video and everything. He's just there dancing, hanging out with the guys. I don't see it as bad. You know, I know that like Miami fans have made fun of Florida State recently because, you know, they're out there doing fully choreographed dance routines before the games and things like that, which is, or, you know, and during practices, which, you know, is a little different, but in their free time, like, yeah, guys are going to dance, they're going to sing, they're going to do whatever, they're going to just vibe, you know, be together, you know, just express themselves. And if Manny is in there with the guys, I mean, it's a great way to show that you relate. It's a great way to connect with the people, you know, I mean, the people on your team, in your program, to really build that kind of camaraderie and that, what's the word I'm looking for? Culture. There we go. That you want to have. So yeah, I don't think that it's a bad thing. I mean, I don't necessarily think that Manny Diaz dancing in the locker room with the, you know, Gilbert Frierson and those guys is going to make Justin Flo, 5-star All-American linebacker, be like, hey, you know what? All these teams are recruiting me. Alabama, LSU, USC, Washington, Oregon, Michigan, Ohio State. Thanks. I'm going to Miami, specifically because Manny Diaz was dancing in the locker room. I don't think that's going to happen, but I also don't think it's a bad thing. So if you're building your culture and this is true and authentic to you, then be true and authentic to you, Manny. You know, kids are the truth tellers of life. If you've been around any young child, they will say anything. Your breath stinks, or your teeth are yellow, or I like that, or this is purple, or but they see through all of the facades that you try to put up. And recruiting is the same way. If you have guys who are being disingenuous, the students who you're recruiting, the young gentlemen, they more often than not are able to see through that. So if Manny Diaz is being authentic to himself, which I believe that he is, then I have absolutely no problem with him doing that, being in the video, being up in the locker room, dancing and hanging out and chilling with the guys. Because again, you want to build a family program where, you know, the guys want to be around each other. They want to hang out. They want to spend time together. And if the coach is doing the same thing, that's proof positive and emblematic of that, you know, culture actually existed.
Christopher Santino, Thomas Cook. Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Thanks so much for joining us. And of course, you are Miami fans. I don't have to ask that question. Would love to know how long you've been watching the channel. So welcome in on a Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. With our main analyst right here. He is Cam Underwood from State of the U. So the questions come from Thomas and Christopher. We'll start with Christopher here. If Walker from Norland commits, could he be penciled in as a starter on the offensive line as a true freshman?
He has the ability. Isaiah Walker Jr., he's the guy we talked about last week.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, he's that kind of prospect. I mean, he would be penciled in for a battle for a job along the offensive line. Obviously, that depends on what the season looks like and who's coming back. If Zion Nelson is the left tackle and has a freshman All-American season, or, you know, third team or even higher ACC, you know, all ACC, I should say, I would probably want to keep Zion Nelson at left tackle in 2020, even with, you know, Jalen Rivers and Isaiah Walker Jr. And then, okay, cool. So you can battle for right tackle or maybe try to find snaps somewhere else. But, you know, we got a guy who I think is going to be an all ACC caliber performer, and we're going to leave him at left tackle. But if there's a revolving door at left tackle or right tackle, either one, but specifically left tackle, because, you know, Zion Nelson's a true freshman. That's why I use that example. But if there's a revolving door, he gets injured or is, you know, overwhelmed a little bit by, you know, the top end defensive ends that Miami's going to face against Florida State, you know, knocking on my wood table, God willing, we get to the ACC championship game against Clemson and their plethora of defensive ends. If he's overwhelmed by those kind of guys and the staff says, maybe he plays right tackle and there's a spot open on the left side. Yeah, I mean, But the guys that we're looking at and who could potentially commit with Rivers right now, but Rivers and Walker Jr. both have the kind of size and skill where they should be contributing early. So, I mean, I won't say pencil him in at any position because competition breeds success, and the guys who are here hopefully are learning and developing. But he's the kind of talent who could easily challenge for and win a job as a true freshman, regardless of who's on the roster in front of him.
So one of your recruiting rules, if I remember these correctly, your 10 commandments of recruiting or whatever you've named them as, includes the quarterback position, that there should be a quarterback offered in every class.
A quarterback signed in every class.
Sure. Yes. You do have to complete the mission and sign the player. Exactly. So Thomas Cook is asking about the quarterback board and if anyone is going to be offered.
I mean, we have a 4-star Tyler Van Dyke who's already committed. And that's Dan Enos's guy in this class. He's 6'4", 230-something pounds. First play of his highlight film, he throws the ball about 63, 65 yards in the air with barely the flick of a wrist. So he's a very strong arm. He works in the shotgun. He works under center and shotgun. So he has the ability to use his footwork for drops from both kind of situations. He's more athletic than you think. He will extend plays and makes wonderful, incredible throws on the run. And showcases great arm talent. He was also the pitcher of the year for his conference. Oh, Connecticut, Suffield Academy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
talking about him.
Yeah, Van Dyke, he was the pitcher of the year for his baseball team or for the conference that he plays in. And he sits, 90 to 93 with his fastball. So this kid has an arm. So that's pretty much going to be the guy. He doesn't have the wildest, greatest statistics because, they only play an 8-game high school season up there in Connecticut before the playoffs. So, and you're, playing with not the greatest Power 5 level recruits around you either. So even if he's making some good throws, sometimes they're not going for completions or things of that nature. But yeah, Tyler Van Dyke, that's going to be the guy unless something unforeseen happens at quarterback in this cycle. Miami has offered a bunch of quarterbacks already in this year and even expanded that board since Dan Enos and company came on. And I say Dan Enos more than Manny Diaz because Dan Enos is the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. So he, I guarantee you, is handpicking who he wants a quarterback to run the offense that he's, installing and designing. But as I'm looking at the offer list, there's plenty of offers out there. And a couple guys who are uncommitted still to this point. But yeah, it's going to be Tyler Van Dyke. So if the board expands, I mean, I think that would be fine, but I'm not really looking at Miami to take 2 quarterbacks or really to look in another direction. If Dan Enos said Tyler Van Dyke is my guy, then I'm going to roll with him on that and just keep it moving into the 2021 class where Miami's already chasing after a potential 5-star and Jake Garcia from California, and several other guys have offers in the 2021 class as well already.